Yeah, absolutely. And I I've got three kids, and they're all they range anywhere from 22 to 29 years old. And I always said to them, you know, they always ask me, why do you always have to have the best of everything? And it got to be almost like it was a criticism. You're never happy unless you have the best. And I'd say to them, when I buy something that's really good, I'm completely satisfied 90% of the time. When I buy something that is not good, that is cheap, I'm dissatisfied 90% of the time. So I would have to turn around and keep buying crap 9 times before I get something good. So I'd rather do it right the first time, do my homework, do my research. I do it with everything, whether it's cameras, whether it's cars, it doesn't matter. And I don't have a lot of cars. I've got an old 2007 Toyota truck that I had to get a new battery put in today because it's minus 27.
Wow.
Minus 27. I walked out this morning.
Wow.
It's insanely cold. Anyway, that's another story. But I always tell people as well, we don't sell snakes. We sell pictures. Snakes just happen to come with the picture.
Yeah. That's another one.
Right? And it floors me how people can take a snake, put it on a rug on the floor of their living room, take a picture, and it's like out of focus, and they pop it up and they go, yeah, I want this amount of money. You know what? If you said you can have this snake for nothing, I would be less interested. You know what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a fault of mine. I always look for the best. I always look for the best photographs because I want to know the person that's selling this snake cares enough to do the right job in marketing it, and I take it from there. And people always say, "Oh, you have to be with somebody to sell an expensive snake." I've bought my most expensive snake from people I've never heard of before. I've just stumbled upon these snakes, and they've absolutely blown my mind. I do my research, and I buy those snakes. So it has nothing to do with, whether you're considered a big-time breeder or a small breeder. Your animal should do the talking for you.
Yeah.
And quality will do that every single time.
Okay. Well, being as we're talking about animals and quality and combos, I want to ask you, in the whole of your career so far to date, what's been your sort of, let's say, the highlight of your career? The combo that you've made, whether it be, it could be, anything from a single gene up to, X amount of genes. Is there something that you saw and you was like, right, I want to make that, and that's my goal? Like what we've said, some people it takes 5 years. What is the highlight, the combo highlight of your career so far, Mark?
Well, the combo highlight is definitely the lightning pipe, which is the MJ Xanthic pipe. But that wasn't something that I saw. It just happened. It was a fluke. There was a Xanthic floating around in my collection. I've since crossed it with VPI and Snakekeeper lines, and they're not compatible. I haven't tried the Jolliffe line. When I look at the Jolliffe line compared to my line, there's no similarities whatsoever. And it's quite frankly, it's hard to find Jolliffe Xanthic females that I can breed. So that was the highlight, because up until that point, I was surrounded by other breeders that were constantly popping out interesting things. And it took me, 2008 was when I hatched my male out. And then I hatched another one out in 2010. So that was really exciting. And what was exciting about it was the response I got from that snake, not necessarily through social media, but in person. So when I go to a show and I display the lightning tide, without question, it was the most popular snake on my table, with people that knew snakes and with people that didn't know snakes. And sometimes I value the opinion of people that just walk along that are not snake connoisseurs, that look at something and they go, oh my God, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So that to me shows more longevity in a morph than a morph that, you know, where a snake breeder comes on and says, well, yeah, I could do this and this and this. And, you know, it's pretty subtle, but I could do this and this. If it's a pop, if it's a wow right off the bat, that's what excites me. And now I've taken it one step further, where I'm crossing the axanthic into so many different genes. You know, I'm doing Stream, I'm doing Desert Ghost, Vanilla, Clown. So there's so many projects splintering off of that one snake. You know, my ultimate, I think, what I'm really looking forward to seeing is Super Orange Dream Fire Axanthic. I think would be one of the cleanest snakes on the planet. I'm working on that, and among other things.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing, and I'll put a link in the description box below to your YouTube page. I remember you doing that short video. It was almost like a movie trailer for the Lightning Pied. That was fantastic. I mean, I did one recently on the Gene X. I recently brought into Justin's project on the Gene X. And for me, I mean, very simple. And when I say simple, I don't mean it's simple to make a Lightning Pied. I mean, it's just basically two recessives together. You know, it's not 10 genes, you know, and I think I'm a big advocate of when people start out, I want people to start with, you know, single genes, quality genes, and make their own combos, because I do believe that those two gene combos that people can make, if they make them with the right ingredients, like you said, you know, with cooking, you make them with the right ingredients, you're going to make something that's epic. And yes, we've seen bumblebees and, you know, various combos of two genes before, but have you seen one like this? And that's something that I'm a big, you know, I believe in a lot, is quality over quantity, like I keep saying. And certainly, you know, I was pleased when you said your Lightning Pied, because for me, it's just something, it's not simple to make or to hit. It's just a simple two gene, and it's just there.
Right.
It ticks all the boxes. And for me, Mark, you know, it is just a real nice combination with two genes complementing each other, you know?
Yeah, you're right. And you know, one of the two gene snakes that stand out in my mind right now is the Cypress Lavender.
Yeah.
You see that?
Wow. Yeah. Ozzy sent me a picture of it because we were talking.
Yeah.
He was like, have you seen it? I was like, no. And he sent me a picture, and I'd be blown me away, you know? Again, just very simple, but an absolute outstanding, you know?
And that was produced by Phil Robinson and Sid Land. They're out in Western Canada, in Edmonton. And two great young breeders, exceptional breeders. And I was just so happy to see that they had done this. And they're, you know, examples of breeders that are always looking ahead. And, you know, they were one of the first ones to invest in the cypress gene. And what did they do right away? They, you know, crossed it with lavender. And whereas, you know, some people would say, well, I'm just going to produce more lavenders because I can sell lavenders. but they went the long route, and it
Yeah.
paid off. And look who went knocking on their door immediately. It was Justin.
Yeah.
And that's a big compliment right there. So now Justin owns the snake, and it's mind-boggling.
Yeah. I mean,
Mind-boggling.
we as breeders, and this is something that I try to say to people, you can try and envision how a snake could look or may look, but until you produce it, you'll never know. And like I said,
No.
I've got a few just standard, I've got a few standard lavender girls, and every time I open the tub and I look at them, they just blow me away. So for someone to go the long route, if you like, with those two gentlemen going and saying, let's breed them to lavenders, right? They could have gone and produced more cypress, and not necessarily flooded the market, but, sort of thought about the wallet first. But like you said, they went the long way. They went a way that no one else probably thought about, and look at what happened, look what they did. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to see.
Brilliant. Well, it just gives people a lot of food for thought in that kind. We've seen other people who aren't in the limelight, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. Just seeing that, like you said, just two guys who just have thought outside the box and have produced something amazing. So that is fantastic.
But it's one of the biggest dangers out there I find that people do is they assume, and they, for example, they actually believe there's more snakes out there than there really are when it comes to specific type morphs. So, somebody might say to me, oh, well, you should have, you've been producing lightning since 2008. So this year you probably produced, 20, 30 of them.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't produce one straight lightning this year. I did do some Axanthic pied combos, and maybe I got about four or five. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do produce something that is really unique, hold on to that fact when you are selling it, because you will always get people saying, well, I'm just going to make this myself, or I'll just find somebody else that has it. Well, they're not out there.
Yeah.
This is not. And as we go down this road, making specific combos is getting more and more difficult because we're breeding more and more.
Yeah.
So, like how many straight Mojaves did you produce this year? Or how many, so when you do produce a 3-gene snake or a 4-gene snake, there might be 4 of them in the world.
Yeah.
And there might be one for sale.
Yeah.
So, one thing I got to say about, Ozzy and Justin is they really know how to price a snake and hold on to that price.
Yeah.
And if they know how to do that well. A morph market has definitely helped because people can now and reference pricing.
Yeah.
Whereas before, what did we have to go by?
Well,
the fact that Kevin McCurley and Brian Barczyk and Pete Call, those 3 guys were the leaders when it came to saying, yeah, you want this snake, it's going to cost you $25,000.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have had the balls to do that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember Bob Clark when he was pricing up the albinos, and he was saying that he was scared to price them over the $10,000 mark, and I think he priced them just under because
they were $10,000.
They were, he was scared to ask for that sort of money, and like you said, those 3 people in particular basically turned around and went, no, it's 25,000 or nothing, and so many breeders I speak to Sean Bradley, and he said the same. You know, he tried to deal with Kevin on a spider or something, and Kevin just stuck to his price. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, it's just crazy to, you know, like I said, it's good to hear the past and where we've come from to now and what have you. But yeah, it's certainly you need to look at, and again, people make that assumption, you know, oh yeah, you know, oh well, but you know, like when you offer something for sale, like you said, they automatically think you've got 10 or, you know, 15 on the shelf, and really you may only have one or two, and it's literally first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And then when they ask you, have you got it, and you say no, they're like not angry at you. They're almost like shocked, as if to say, well, what do you mean you've got none? And you're like, well,
Yeah.
you know, I produce for quality, not quantity. So it's very hard sometimes to get that across to people. But yeah, it's certainly a funny old world, definitely.
And getting stranger.
yeah. Tell me about it. Well, one of the other things I wanted to ask you, Mark, was obviously we've spoken about your Lightning Pied, but I want to ask you, what project at this point in time are you most excited about?
There's a few. I'm a huge fan of the Orange Dream project and where that's going. There's no other morph out there right now that can do what the Orange Dream can do, especially in the super version.
Sure.
And we're just starting to see what the different combinations will be, and we're just starting to see it crossed in the recessive.
Yeah.
You know, the Super Orange Dream Desert Ghost entry will be insane. It'll just be insane.
Yeah.
And I'm really, you know, I'm all about the bright. I'm all about the pop.
Yeah.
Because so often, whether I'm at a show in Chicago, whether I'm in Germany at Ham, or whether I'm at a show here, what I do is I don't go looking for snakes. The snakes have to pop out at me. I will quickly scan a table, so I'll walk down the table and just kind of look at everything, and I need something that's going to pop out at me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to stop in my tracks.
Yeah.
And so often you'll see a table and it's still full of brown snakes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going,
definitely.
well, geez, I know you've been doing this a while. Why are they all this color? Whereas, you know, there's very, very few snakes that will give you the pop
Yeah.
and an Orange Dream will. Now, I have to give Justin a lot of credit in keeping the lavender alive, because some of the lavender combos that he's producing, whether it's the Super Blade lavender, or the Super Blade Clown lavender, or the Blade Clown lavender, or the lavender pipe, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm absolutely gobsmacked, you know, when I see some of the snakes that he's producing, and I'm just, you know, really pleased for him. But it's also really inspiring that I've, you know, started collecting more lavenders and doing crosses, you know, for future projects and this and that. So I think it's a snake that has a lot of legs and a lot of life left in it. You know, I always, when I look at a morph, a particular morph, what happens if you do what is it, a curve graph?
Yep.
Where you show, you know, the popularity peaks and then it goes down. It's like that slide analogy that I use. But very often, it's very common for a snake to take off in popularity and then come down really rapidly, especially if it's a codom morph. If it's a recessive, it doesn't happen nearly as fast, because I mean, when you look at some of the recessive morphs, I had this discussion today with somebody here. You know, piebald clowns, those two morphs have, as far as being the key recessive morphs out there, have really maintained their value.
Oh, for sure.
You know, lavender is a fairly inexpensive snake, but when you introduce that morph into the cross it with different recessive and codons or whatever, you start getting spectacular results. But you know, recessive is definitely you know, the key to success, and crossed with, you know, different genes. It's like, you know, when you cook a meal, and I love to cook. I don't know if you figured that out by now.
Yeah.
But if I'm cooking, you know, beautiful standing rib roast, I want to cook it to perfection. But that's the recessive. But the fact that I'm adding a beautiful, you know, green peppercorn sauce on, you know, dripped over it with some nice Yorkies on the side and whatever. Okay, those can be your codons.
Yeah.
To make that combination just pop, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, so that's the way I look at things. There has to be a core, you know, a base, ingredient, and then work around it. And you know, don't be afraid to throw in some chili peppers or some, you know, whatever, curry or this and that. That's how greatness comes about, is doing something that nobody else has done. And you know, if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. You know, but you tried, and it's better to try, you know, and fail than not to have tried at all. So
that's exactly one of my analogies that I use. I posted a video today/tonight, and it was to do with helping people with assist feeding or force feeding. And my analogy is, you know, look, you know, this is the last sort of ditch effort you make.
Right.
Actually, you know, it's last. You know, you've tried live, you've tried frozen, you've tried leaving it overnight. You've done everything. This is the last ditch effort, and I'd rather try and fail and not to have tried at all. And that's something, again, like I said, you know, I'll try and sort of, you know, sort of talk about a lot with people, whether it be at shows or over the phone or over emails. And I think, you know, look, you've got to think a little bit outside the box. Again, you've got to look at what, like you said, you know, those two morphs, those two recessives, the pied and the clown. I totally agree with you 100%. And then you've got other recessives either side, like we said, the lavender, the ultramel. I'm still a big fan of the hypo or the orange ghost. I still think there's a lot of stuff which you can add into the orange ghost or the hypo, and you can make some awesome animals. Again, it's just something different. And again, the Orange Dream in the UK, there's now more people working with it because they're seeing the potential, like what you, Justin, and Ozzy have, you know, Ozzy being at the front of the Orange Dream. But even he admitted, you know, he was very late putting it into the clowns. But now we're seeing these clown combos, like you said, you know, he's taken a good recessive gene, he's added in a very what most people, you know, used to look at it and go, well, yeah, it just looks like a pretty normal, you know. But when he's popping out them Super Orange Dream clowns or Super Orange Dream Fire clowns and all that sort of stuff, people are just stopped in the tracks, you know. And that to me is, again, like you said, it's just thinking outside the box, progression, patience, and just moving forward with things.
And you can't look at snakes and say, well, that's not a very attractive snake, so I don't want to produce them. That's like looking at black pepper and saying it doesn't look like salt, so I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
It you know, everything when it's blended in the right amount, it can be magical.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, so you know, you getting back to the cypress lavender, which I think should be the snake of the year because it is just 2 ingredients.
Yeah.
It's amazing what it did.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be like Orange Dream aren't great-looking snakes, but that's not the point. The point is they can make great-looking snakes because they're, a true incomplete dominant.
Yeah, for sure.
And they came out basically the same time as the Desert Gene came out, and the Desert Gene had all the issues with females not being able to lay eggs and everything like that, so they kind of just disappeared.
Yeah.
There are some people still working with them, but if you compare the Desert Gene with the Orange Dream gene, in my opinion, there's no comparison as far as where the potential went. But the Orange Dream was never considered as valuable a snake as the Desert was. I disagree. It should have been twice as much money, but I'm biased. So, I love orange.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
the other morph that I think is a real sleeper out there is the Desert Ghost.
Yeah.
And the reason I believe it's such a sleeper is because I would guarantee you that 80% of the ball python world still associate the Desert Ghost as being a desert ghost.
Yeah.
That it's an actual, the desert with desert problems, but it's not. It was and I'll go on the record and say it was a very poorly named snake. Evan, and it was very poorly named. And Mark Bell.
Yeah, well, because I'm under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, I was under the impression that the Desert Ghost, the recessive gene, was out first, and then the Desert came out, and they named the Desert.
Yeah,
Is that correct, or was it the other way around?
Absolutely correct. I mean, the Desert Ghost has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was one of the snakes that I really, really liked, but they were hard to get.
Sure.
And but I'd love to. I've said this several times. I'd love to see them change the name of that morph completely and almost do a relaunch, a rebrand.
Yeah.
I'll go on record as saying I want to call it the Ice Ball.
Yeah. Well, you saying that, Mark, I've got a breeder male that I bred to my VPI Exantic last year, and obviously I've kept some double hets back. And he's virtually black and white. I mean, he's absolutely stunning. And again, just looking at the foresight, the hets that I produced, I've posted them on Instagram, and I think you like the picture. And they, even as hets, they are so clean and so vibrant. Yeah. And I do believe that's down to the Desert Ghost side of things. Again, there is so much that can be done with the Desert Ghost. Again, like I said, a rebrand, a relaunch, it wouldn't take a lot, and I think it would do a hell of a lot more for the Desert Ghost project. And like I said, even today, I've got to say, 2 weeks ago, I had an email off someone over in the States who was asking me the same question. Is the Desert Ghost the same as a desert? And literally, no word of a lie, that was literally 2 weeks ago, someone asked me that question. So even today, it's still getting confused, which is a shame.
It really is. And, it's one morph. And this is the thing about the ball python. When we first got into ball pythons back in the early, in 2000 and earlier than that, there were no ball pythons that got better with age.
Yeah.
Even albinos dulled out. Even piebalgs dulled out. Clowns dulled out. They all dulled out. The key was to come up with a snake or a combination that got better with age.
Yeah.
And one of the only ones that did that really were caramel albinos.
Yeah.
They got better with age.
Yeah.
But Desert Ghosts do a dramatic change from babies. Some of the babies you could pass off as being normal.
Yeah, yeah.
but boy, do they ever change, and do they change for the good?
Yeah.
So that's something also to recognize in any morph you're working with. Does it get better with age? And you can take morphs that don't and cross them with morphs that do. And, I got to say, there are many adult snakes that I have in my rack that are fully mature, meaning that they're at their peak and they're not going to get any worse and they're not going to get any better. And they just absolutely blow my doors off when I see them every time because they're that good.
Yeah.
But it's by adding the right, combination of genes that enable them to do that.
Exactly. I mean, like what we said, there was the caramel albino that got better with age. For me, I'm definitely, the ultramale babies, they do look beautiful. But as adults, just, when I open my drawer and I see that female ultramale, fully mature, like you say, she just blows my mind. And it's, again, a banana is a classic one. Banana looks amazing as a baby, a standard banana, and as it gets older, it does tend to sort of, fade out, if you like, and sort of change. And it's not necessarily for the best, but as hatchlings, they look absolutely amazing. Now, when we're talking about, like you said, making things better as an adult, there's not many genes out there. A lot of people, again, the spot nose for me reminds me very, very much like a fire. They do get lighter as they get older. And again, looking at adding that, then putting the ultramel on top of the spot nose. Again, just thinking about ways you can improve on something, or adding something, like you said, to make something better or improve. And that's exactly why I did the double het project with the Desert Ghost and the Exantic. I wanted to make an animal that, as it got older, it would get more black and silver or black and white, and that's why I added the Desert Ghost into the Exantic project, because like I said, I just wanted to make an animal that, as an adult, would jump out the drawer, and just literally be that black and silver or black and whitey silver snake. So, but again, it's foresight, patience.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. The next thing I want to ask you, because I feel you've seen the market really from start to present, and joking apart, I call you, when I speak to people, and you call yourself like the Obi-Wan of the ball python industry, which I think is a brilliant analogy of yourself. How do you think the market has changed from when you started to now, and where do you think the future for breeders, where do you think the future is going to lead us?
Well, I ignore the market for the most part, meaning I don't, comb Facebook and different forum pages. I stay out of all that, which is actually, I think, is a very healthy thing to do.
Totally agree.
Because so many people get so caught up about, oh, did you see so-and-so is selling these snakes for this amount of money? I can't believe it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You know what? Do what you want to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And, if I have a specific snake that I'm selling, or, a bunch of snakes that I'm selling, I'll do my research to the point of I'll go on the Morph Market, or I'll talk to Oz, or, see what other respected breeders are selling their snakes for. I'll go to different websites, as far as specific breeders' websites, and see what they're selling snakes for. And then I'll base my price on that. I try to eliminate all drama from my life. I have no time for little brains that are trying to cause big problems.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that I have sold more snakes each year than I did the year prior. Every year it just keeps getting better and better and better. And even when they said the market was going south or whatever. And I think the reason I do is because even if Joe Schmo is selling a snake for $500, doesn't mean everybody on the planet knows that Joe Schmo is selling this snake for $500 and it's way below market value. I mean, and that's where people make a mistake, is they think everybody knows absolutely everything about everything that's going on. Well, they don't. I mean, I just bought a big screen TV because I had to replace mine and so on and so on. Well, I'm sure they were cheaper somewhere else, and they were sure as hell more expensive somewhere else, too. It just so happened that I bought it from a place where I could rely on the staff in that store to give me the kind of service that I wanted and the kind of knowledge that I wanted when making a purchase. So I like to think of, my business as being an island that if you want to row up to or sail up to and hop on shore, I'll, help you out and show you some pretty cool things that you've never seen before. I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to produce, stuff that everybody else is producing.
Sure. Yep.
There's always going to be a crossover, absolutely. But what's going to make you different is, like I always use this analogy. Do you have Walmart in the UK?
Yes, but it's called Asda. Walmart own Asda.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you can go and buy purses at Walmart, or you can go to Michael Kors and buy purses, or you can go to Coach and buy purses. I'd rather consider myself to be a little bit more unique and stand out by the way I do things with my photography and my website and whatever. And that's another thing. I think people are also looking to pull away from Facebook.
Yeah.
When you're on Facebook, you can't help but step in dog shit as you're walking through the field.
Yeah.
Okay? It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I always say Facebook is like, you come into this clearing and there's this beautiful tranquil lake, and you go, I'd like to go swimming in that lake. Problem is, you got to swim through like 100 feet of weeds before you get to the middle where there aren't any. So creating an island that people can come to, i.e., a website where you're there by yourself. How nice is that?
Yeah.
There by yourself, you can look at pictures at your leisure. You can say, oh my God, that's beautiful, or I like that, or I don't like that, and oh, this inspires me. This is I'd like to produce one of these, and so on and so on. And you're by yourself, and you don't have any of these stupid pea-brain people firing out comments because they're miserable in their lives and they just want to disrupt everything. I have no time for that.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm 60 years old. Maybe that's why I think I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I'm tucked away in some cave somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm only going to come out when I know there's a Jedi there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, again, I'm not on Facebook. I stay away from it as far as I'm concerned. It's full of drama and it's very negative, And I find the community on YouTube is completely different. Again, Instagram is very positive as well. And again, I think, you've hit the nail on the head. I think ultimately you've got to you don't want drama in your life. At the end of the day, you just want to the way I look at things is like I say to people, customer service. And I know it sounds, I don't know, it doesn't sound right to put customer service in with animal welfare, if you like, but it is the key. If you can provide a good service, you know, like what we said over this whole conversation, you know, the right pictures, you know, you're marketing your animal well, you know, you're letting your animal basically sell itself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes I'll post a picture. I don't really want to put any words because I think that the picture tells a thousand words, you know, says a thousand words.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I definitely think, you know, if we just concentrate on what we do, on ourselves, you know, build a positive, you know, surround ourselves with positive people, and just look at the, you know, what we should be doing and leading the way, like quality over quantity, you know, customer service, you know, all that sort of stuff. I think basically we'll leave the rest in the weeds. You know, it's sort of like, you know, you see that, and again, I speak to you, I speak to Ozzy, I spoke to Justin, and again, the level of customer service is fantastic, and ultimately that's where I think the next generation, let's say, for the future of the hobby, I think is going more quality over quantity, and again, looking at that customer service that we want to offer people, and just say, look, you buy a snake off me, you've got my number for life. You know, it's not just literally, you know, again, we're talking about when people buy stuff, I think they've got it in the States. I'm not sure if you have in Canada, where they've got Craigslist. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Craigslist is very much like what we have over here, but we have like Pets for Homes, I think it is, and some other websites. You know, you're not going to find the quality maybe and the right breeder on them websites. Like what we've said, you go to the correct websites, either to the breeder's website or you go to Morph Market. I don't have a website because too many times have I've gone onto a website and I've gone to purchase that animal, but because that breeder has been that busy, they haven't updated their website. They've already sold that animal probably a month ago. And I wanted to not what's the word? I didn't want to fall into that trap. I do want to make a website, and I think a website is very important. Your website for me is probably the best I've seen. And again, I'll put a link in the description box below for people to go and have a look at your website, because I do think it's a work of art. But again, I think moving forward, I think with the future of the hobby, I think we need to lead by example, and again, quality, service, and just sticking to our guns, I think is the way forward. Like you said, stay out the drama. Facebook isn't the way to sort of get yourself out there. You know, certainly not the way to do business for sure. But I think you stick to them morals. I think people won't go wrong.
Well, and you know, it is difficult, and I am definitely guilty of not updating my website enough. It's just so difficult. You know, when I have a priority, is my priority my looking after my animals, or is my priority selling my animals? I'll choose looking after my animals 100 times over selling my animals.
For sure.
I just can't not do it. I can't, say, I'm just not going to do this today to ensure the health of my animals. I'd rather spend my time on the internet. I can't do it. So I'm definitely guilty when it comes to not updating my website. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll get caught up, and I'll, especially this time of year, where I don't have, things hatching out all the time, I can focus on that.
Yeah.
And that is my plan. But I'm the first one to stick my hand up and say I'm not as good as I should be when it comes to updating my website. So for those that are listening here saying he doesn't update his website, I agree with you, and I apologize. And I'll try to be better. But it's it's a big, fairly big operation, and maybe one day you're going to have to fly across the pond and visit it, firsthand.
Yeah.
And experience a good old-fashioned cold Canadian winter.
I'm all up for that, Mark.
Come in the summer.
Yeah, I'm just going to come just for your food. That's what I'm coming for, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come for
Well,
your food.
Oz comes up here every year. Every summer he flies up.
Yeah?
All we do is eat all weekend.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
don't sound like a bad idea.
Yeah.
As long as there's some good cognac and some good rum involved, you've got me. You've got me there. You've got me there.
No,
Well,
those good rum.
Mark, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much. It's always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. I know we speak a lot over emails. We've had a couple of phone calls. And I'm really pleased you've allowed me to do this and put it on my channel for other people to hear. And I think it's important, as I said at the beginning, it's important to hear from people like yourself. And I keep drumming on, and I know I've drummed on at you, I've drummed on at Ozzy, to make more videos on YouTube and this and the other. And I know time is precious. But you are certainly missed on YouTube, and I keep telling Oz, he's the same. But yeah, thank you very much for this, my friend. Yeah, I hope everyone and all the families well.
Well, I appreciate that, and I was honored to get your request that you wanted me to do this, because I've always admired the way you handle yourself in the industry. It's with the utmost professionalism. You're very articulate. You have great opinions.
Thank you.
You back up your opinions with fact, and that's what we need. And I admire that in people, and it's rare these days. It's rare for people to stand up and be their own person. Be your own person. Don't be what you think people want you to be.
Yeah.
Be who you are. And then that's the only way you'll gain respect from people. So
thank
you're
you.
doing that.
Thank you. That means a lot. Well, it's been fantastic talking to you, Mark. I'll be in touch. And again,
all right, sounds good.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, mate, to have this conversation.
All right, let's keep in touch.
Definitely. You take care.
All right, take care again.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed that little interview with me and Mark. I really enjoyed chatting to the gentleman. He's a wealth of knowledge and tons of information. Absolute superb gentleman. So what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Put some comments in the comment box below. Please let me know. Do you want to see me or hear me do some more to chat to other breeders? Like I said, put some comments in the comment box below and let me know. If you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. If you've not got an account, Phil, go and set yourself an account up. It's dead easy, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification button, because I will have some awesome animals coming through. And again, hit the like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. It just helps, guys, with the channel. So thanks for all your support. Take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon.